Welcome to anybody who is not a Patreon of our podcast. Basically, as you all know, this podcast runs for free. We obviously don't earn any money from it. But what we do want to do is we want to be able to, offer new and exciting guests to be able to pay for their train fares and to accommodate them in hotels and just all around to just improve the podcast itself and bulk it out. In order to do that, we there's only so much me and Andy can put in ourselves. So the Patreon basically is you guys, if you want to help us improve the podcast, you can do so by contributing as little or as much as you want monthly on www.patreon.com/overrated everything.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe as well.
We was on FaceTime the other day, weren't we? And we was talking about, like, you were saying about, because I never watch the news.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the reason being is it depresses me.
Yeah.
I guess and it brings me down, and I just kind of avoid it all. Whereas you're pretty up to date on everything that's going on the news, and quite often you're telling me about, have you heard about this and you heard about this, and I'm like, no, I haven't got a clue. So I just it was your idea, wasn't it? We sort of said that we can discuss something that's hot topic of the week.
Yeah.
And you can fill me in, or, there's things that I know about that you may not know about. But I guess that's like the algorithm of people's social media, isn't it?
I guess so, yeah, because you probably get most of your news from social media then.
Yeah, I guess so. Whether that be news or information, I guess it's two different things, aren't there? News and information. It's like most of my information, if you like, would come from social media. But yeah, But then again, I don't really use social media that much. I've got Instagram, but I don't really use it that much. I've got a little spy account on Twitter, haven't I? That's it's very, but I mean, it's not really a spy account. But basically, all I do is I follow Grimsby Town, and golf stuff, really. So like my Twitter is just full of Grimsby Town and golf stuff. But obviously, you use your Twitter for other things, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I've always had a Twitter. Twitter's become a fucking bit of a cesspit for just horrible people at the minute, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of it's just a place to argue now. When Twitter first came about,
it's a place to argue, yeah. But do you not think that you open those floodgates for the things that you tweet?
Yeah.
Because you tweet like sometimes I look at your Twitter and I'm like, oh God, what? Because yours is because it's you mainly politics, don't you? And I don't follow any politics.
Yeah, because my Twitter has literally become because of the algorithm and stuff has literally become just a wall of kind of politics and stuff like that. Because I am very interested in politics. The older I get, the more interested I've become in it. With it.
Do you not think that's that just puts more stress on your day-to-day life for you yourself?
Not really, because I don't really let it affect me. I mean, there has been times where I have, and it does, when you I guess when you're constantly seeing things, then you're kind of going, oh God, the world's a bit of a shit place. But then for me, why I watch the news all the time, I went to college and did like a filmmaking media course. And that was one thing that they taught us. They were like, because it was like media studies, they were like, you should watch the news every day, like get as much information and stuff like that as possible. And I've just always done it. And my dad always used to have like Sky Sports News on all the time.
But do you wholeheartedly believe everything that you see on the news?
It depends. I take everything with a pinch of salt. I mean, the thing is BBC News is the channel that I would probably put on the most. Obviously, the kind of backlash with the BBC and that over the last few weeks with the Gary Lineker stuff and that, then it's probably made me go, a little bit. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it is from trusted sources, isn't it? You've got to be careful because, ultimately there could be someone there with an agenda. But yeah, I think, yeah. Why do you not?
No.
What? So like, if the news is telling you something, you're just like, nah, that's not real.
No, not all the time, but I think there's sometimes things that I see on the news that I just think it's just a lot of the time. I think it's hyped up, but a lot of the time also I just think It's just bullshit that, like, I don't understand why I need that in my life day to day. Why I don't understand why when I get, it might sound selfish, but I guess my outlook on life is I work, I pay my taxes, and I make sure that my little boy is fed every day. And the rest that I do day to day is just a bonus. I go, play football, or I go running, or I play golf, or whether I just sit and just mong and watch TV and film all day. And I just kind of, I don't know, I just think there's a whole world of sadness, and there's a whole, I don't know, there's just so much going on in the world, and I just think I'd rather just focus on making sure that me and my family are happy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Is that selfish?
It's not selfish, man. I mean, it's, especially the past couple of years, the news is increasingly, every day on there, through COVID and stuff. That was a horrible time when it was literally like they were literally telling you every day how many people had unfortunately passed away and stuff like that. Like, obviously, and I mean, one thing that I do hate about the news is, no matter what time of the day you put the news on, you will hear horrible stuff. But, like, if, good dramas that me and you are sometimes lucky enough to be involved in have to be on after 9 o'clock. I was watching, I think The Chase was on the other day, and the kids were eating their tea. And then, like in the adverts, it's like, coming up at 6 o'clock on ITV News. And they were like, I don't know what the thingy was, but it was like, a murder of da-da-da-da-da, and 5 people found dead, and da-da-da. And I'm like, whoa, like, my kids are listening. And I don't think that's nice. I think they should, maybe have a
Why
post.
isn't there a good news channel? Why is it? And that's the thing that I don't understand. Is it's like you watch the news and there's never any good news on there. There's never it's always the bad things that are happening around the world, and it's never there's never good news stories that are going on, and there is good things happening all day, every day.
That's it. I mean, I think there is. Like, because I do watch it a lot. Like, there is obviously all the terrible stuff, and then there always is, like, this
a man saved a dog from a pond today.
Yeah, or this person's raised money for this and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, there is.
But they
that
only
in
give
there.
that. They give that a 30-second section.
Yeah, it reminded me.
Like, I know. One of our one of our previous guests, Kel Spellman. I know through lockdown he made a point. Because he's a very positive person.
He is.
But he made a point of doing a video every week of, I think he called it the good news something, and he just spent an hour every other day just digging through the internet and finding everything that was going good in the world. And this was during COVID, when obviously everything was up in the air. And I just think, why are these things not getting put on the TV every day at 5 o'clock for kids?
I guess, yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't know. Maybe that's because people enjoy, and like Charlotte doesn't really read that many books, but if she does read a book, it's about a murder case, or something like that. I guess that kind of that drags people in a sense, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I guess so. It's it's what, weirdly, I guess, what people want to be informed about, I suppose. What I was thinking about all the way through that, then, when you were saying good news, though, is the it's Nutty the squirrel. Oh wow, that squirrel sure can water ski from Anchorman.
Oh, I wonder what you was on about then. Well, of course, you're on about Anchorman.
So
was this your what you was complaining with, or have we just gone into this just off?
What?
We said we was going to have like a little subject, didn't we, that we would talk about.
Well, I mean, so the basis of this little Patreon private podcast, PPP, is to, I think, to highlight some of them headlines then, so people can know about the kind of the good stuff, or the kind of the stuff that's topical that we can chat about. Look at this, bringing me in.
I'm getting comfortable. Come here, baby.
So I've got one to start with, because I know you've got a football related one as well. So I found a few headlines today, and I wanted to get, because I like to pick your brains on stuff. There was one in, I think it was in the Guardian. Yeah. The Guardian. Was it the Guardian, dear?
Yeah. Do you read the Guardian? That's interesting.
I've got Apple News, so I have I look through various various publications. So there's an Australian company. So like they can make meat now from like cells and that, and they don't need to kill the animal and stuff.
Well, there you go.
So
Well,
that's
I
the thing.
never.
Yeah, so they can like manufacture meat from basically like the cells of an animal. They don't even need to kill that animal either. They can just extract cells from it, and then in a lab they can grow meat. So in the future, possibly, you won't have to kill any animals to farm meat, basically.
Right.
There's an Australian company that have gone one step further, and they've made a meatball. I don't know if it's just one. There's a picture of just one.
Just a
But
single. The people are going to be rioting for this meatball, aren't they?
they've made a meatball from a mammoth.
This is going to sound ridiculous, but what's a mammoth?
Fuck off. You don't know what a mammoth is?
This is why I didn't want to do this.
The big hairy elephant thing from the Ice Age. The ones that had gone extinct.
I've never seen Ice Age.
No, not the film, you idiot. The fucking period in time. You don't know what a mammoth is? Right, let me show you a woolly mammoth. A woolly mammoth.
This is exactly why I didn't want to do this, because I'm an idiot, Andy.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Basically, if Robin Williams and an elephant had a baby.
I don't get it.
Robin Williams was like dead hairy, wasn't he?
Oh, was he? Oh, yeah, well, there you go. This is exactly why I didn't want to do it, because I'm a fool. I'm a fool.
My questions to you then, Tomo, were...
Okay.
How do you feel about that situation? Not the mammoth situation. The growing meat from like cells and stuff. Where does that sit on your...
Right, honestly, my first reaction when you said about you won't need to kill the animals would be, is that going to get to the point where there's going to be too many animals on the planet? Is there going to be like a... where... Go on.
I guess not, because at the minute, there's too many animals on the planet. So, and that's because of us. Because we're farming them and breeding them and yeah. So a lot of like global warming, not a lot of it, but I don't know, a certain amount of it is because of cows farting, basically. Cows farting, they release methane into the air.
I shouldn't laugh. Fuck's sake.
Cows farting releases methane into the air, and basically that's kind of that affects sort of global warming and stuff. So that's happened because of like how like we breed cows left, right, and center for milk, for beef, for leather, all that kind of stuff. So you could take that away, you wouldn't have to have as many cows. Things like chickens, like we've all seen the exposés of like certain chicken restaurants that keep the chickens like locked up and stuff like there must be have you ever thought about that actually? Have you ever thought like how many chickens a day have to like got to keep up with like Nando's, KFC, etc., etc.? Like that's mental, isn't it?
Yeah, when you think about how many how many chickens there must be on the planet.
Yeah, and then the next
day, at what rate are they being breeded? Breaded chicken. Ooh.
They're probably being breaded a lot as well.
But like, at what rate are they being bred? The rate that they're being killed.
Yeah, I mean the thing is with chickens, having used to own chickens, as you know.
Yes, you did. Yeah,
they literally.
That was a weird period in your life.
It was a strange time.
We got paid from This Is England '86, and I was like, "What are you all going to spend your money on?" Got to yours in Manchester. He was like, "Tomo, I bought 6 chickens." I was like, "What?" Spent mine on vodka.
I had a lot of chickens, but yeah, chickens breed.
I had a lot of vodka.
Rapidly, do you know what I mean? One chicken, a chicken lays an egg every day. A chicken can literally have one baby a day. Well, they lay like a clutch of like 6 or something that they can sit on, and then they'll hatch them and whatnot. But essentially, you could have a chicken a day. Do you know what I mean? That's why they're so massively overfarmed, I guess. But yeah, so
But then
would
you've got
you?
to think, to say, like, I have scrambled eggs most days, probably 3, 4.
Yeah,
So, like, the rate that I'm
eating
having,
them.
so sometimes I'll have 2 poached eggs for breakfast and then 3 scrambled eggs for my lunch in the
You
same
love
day.
an egg.
I love an egg. So I'm essentially, just me, I'm consuming 5 days worth of chicken's eggs.
Yeah,
So at
yeah.
what rate must they be producing? Because there must be other people out there that are
Well, like I
smashing
say,
eggs.
one chicken can lay, on average, they do about 1 egg a day. Some do 2, but not many, I don't think. So like egg farms and that, they'll have like hundreds of chickens. So every day they've got hundreds of eggs. Do you know what I mean? And then they just keep going and going and going, I guess.
That's excellent, that, isn't it?
That is excellent news. Um, so my other question then, would you eat this? Would you eat this meat? Like this,
Yeah,
like
I'd try anything, yeah.
for me, it's a
But if you
weird one.
said to me, do you want a mammoth meatball? I'd go, I would expect you to bring in a fucking huge meatball in a wheelbarrow and just go, there you go, dig in.
It does sound like
But
something
then
if you
that's
eat
just
it.
me.
Yeah, it does sound like something like if you eat it in under half an hour, you get a free dessert or something, doesn't it? In
Yeah,
one of them
you get like the
places.
mammoth meatball challenge, yeah.
Um, but yeah, so a
But yeah, no,
mammoth.
I would try it. But again, like, I'd probably try anything.
Well, that's it. And the interesting thing about this, what I thought is, so mammoths, Tomo, and anyone else who doesn't know what a frigging mammoth is. So we made them extinct. They were animals that like went extinct 4,000 years ago, roundabout, because we overhunted them. Mammoths were like our staple diet. Do you know what I mean? For like, uh, I don't know whether it was like Stone Age or Iron Age kind of cultures. You know, I reckon mammoths would have been one of them animals that changed humanity and how humans work because you couldn't kill a mammoth on your own. I couldn't kill it. I probably could. I couldn't kill a mammoth on my
Yeah,
own.
you are quite
I
hard.
am
Yeah,
quite hard. So we'd have to work together as a team, and that's an important kind of evolutionary trait that we have um, as a species that we can work together. You know, I worry about you, and you worry about me. Some animals don't. A lot of animals don't have that. They just focus on finding food, finding water, having hanky panky, and making babies. So I think it'd be interesting to try it because it has been around about 4,000 years since anybody ever tasted one of them.
right. This is going to sound ridiculous again. So
Go on.
they're not a thing anymore.
No, they're extinct. They're gone. They're
Right.
gone.
Okay. Like dinosaurs.
Yeah, the closest living relative to a mammoth is an elephant. Basically, mammoths were so during the Ice Age, a lot of animals evolved like thick hair, skin, thick hair to keep them warm. And then as the Ice Age kind of retracted, as the ice melted, a lot of animals, so like some mammoths probably evolved into elephants, but the actual mammoth animal was made extinct due to a massive in part by humans hunting them. Basically,
Humans. Yeah.
we
Wow.
just love the taste of them frigging mammoths. But then, would you eat an elephant? Because they're intelligent, aren't they? They're
If it
quite
was
smart.
on the menu, yeah, I would. Yeah.
I love that.
But can you imagine
Where
the
in your
first bloke
head?
that ever?
Where in your head was it on the menu then? Because I was imagining you in a kebab shop.
Nah,
Right, boss
I was
man,
thinking
I'll get.
somewhere like really. I was thinking somewhere really posh, like it's like where somewhere Stephen Graham would eat. I was thinking somewhere like, oh yeah, a side of elephant with asparagus tips.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would if it was on the menu. Like, can you imagine what the first reaction to the first ever bloke who ate a chicken? They're going, dude, you're eating a chicken. Like, what are you doing?
yeah. And who
And
discovered
now it's
that?
just day to day. Now it's just day to day thing.
Yeah.
By the way, we're getting cancelled by vegetarians after this.
Oh
That's
yeah,
it.
don't watch this if you've
Game
ever.
over.
What's the weirdest meat you've ever had?
Ooh. Kangaroo.
Kangaroo. I've tried kangaroo. Yeah. Crocodile. Have you tried that?
No, no.
That's a weird one. Iceland, I think it was selling like crocodile
Ah,
burgers a few years back.
no, I've
And
never
I
tried.
got them.
I could. I think there is something that was really wild that I've eaten. Not wild as in like out in the wild, but like mental that I've eaten. But I can't remember what it was. But I remember thinking this. I'll have to get back to you on it. There was something that I've eaten, and Charlotte was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Like snails and stuff. Snails in
I've
France.
never had snail. Have you had one?
Frog's
Yeah.
legs. Yeah, frog's legs. Yeah.
Don't know if I've had frog's legs.
Yeah, Shane Meadows made me eat them.
And did they
And
taste like chicken? Because that's what everyone says.
yeah, the snails did a little bit, but it was really garlicky, really garlicky.
Oh, right. Okay.
But he made me eat them because he told me that it was part of a scene for Summerstown when we was filming in Paris.
And it wasn't.
So he was like, mate, you have to, like it's part of the scene, you've got to do it. And then did it, and then it was just no, never made anywhere near the film. It was just for his own pleasure.
Did you not wonder why there wasn't a camera there?
Shane Meadows is just do as you're told, don't you? Yeah.
You do. Right, okay, that's enough. We've definitely put a few vegetarians off there. Sorry about that. Let's ring them back in with your subject then. T. What was it?
Well, mine was just something that's been kicking off a lot at the moment. Was the fact that Ben Foster has gone to Wrexham.
Wrexham, I know because of the Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney documentary, which is good, which is brilliant.
Did you watch it?
I watched it. Yeah. I think I finished it because I remember texting you when they were playing Grimsby, and I was like, "Oh, mate, I'm in a predicament here because I love Grimsby because of you, and I've been to a Grimsby match.
And we are
with
all
you.
town.
We are all town. Everyone listening to this podcast is now town. And then
Because I knew we was
also
going to be talking
Wrexham.
about this, I had to make sure I've got it on. By the way, there we go.
So I know a bit about obviously Wrexham. They've got big Deadpool and whatnot owning them now, which is amazing.
So, essentially, Wrexham are a hugely historical football club.
Yeah.
Very much in the shadows of Swansea and Cardiff, which are the sort of the major
Welsh
teams from Wales, if you like. Yeah. Wrexham have been down in the National League now for, I think this is their 16th season.
Wow.
Grimsby Town got relegated 2 years ago, so we had a season down there with them. And that's when Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney bought Wrexham. And they promised to invest a lot of money in the club, which is great. But then, personally, I think it's easy for me to say because Grimsby Town's owners aren't just throwing money at really, really expensive players and players that are scoring 40 goals a season. Our owners aren't doing that, whereas Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney are. So for me, from the outside, it's easy for me to say, oh, you're ruining football, this isn't right, blah, 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 blah. When in hindsight, I think that what they're doing is they've taken a football club, a very unlikely football club, because Rob and Ryan could have bought most clubs from like Championship down, so they could have bought very, very, very big successful teams, and it probably very quickly could have turned into a money making thing for them, which the whole Wrexham thing's, it's not about money for them, I believe at the moment. So they're sort of throwing money at the league. They had a very good season. I think they finished second, and Stockport County won the league. Grimsby Town ended up drawing Wrexham in the playoff semi-final at Wrexham, and going across and down to Wrexham, down from Grimsby, sort of southwest. Spent the afternoon there and met some of the nicest football fans I've ever met. Ever, like there was the most pleasant group of fans I've ever met. And yeah, so we went over across and down southwest to Wrexham, spent the afternoon there, and some of the most pleasant fans. And Grimsby Town, we beat them 5-4 in what was arguably the best game of football I've ever seen. And then we went on to the West Ham ground to play Solihull in the final. And what the Wrexham fans had done is, because there was a lot of people in Grimsby who couldn't afford to go to the game, what the Wrexham fans did is they started a GoFundMe page, and they essentially said there was a number of fans that already had the money set aside to go to the game, to the final.
Nice,
but now we're not there, so they donated all that money. So that made thousands of pounds worth. I think maybe 20, 30 grand they raised for Grimsby Town fans to go to the playoff final. So for that, just as a whole, I think Wrexham are just the fan base, the club. I think they're just all an all round great, put together team and club. And I mean, I do like that. Basically, it's going to be between Notts County and Wrexham to come up this year.
To go up to the league that you're
to come up to League Two that Grimsby are in. Now, for me, that's a bit of a predicament because I really like Notts County. I've got a lot of Notts County fans who are friends. Shane Meadows being one of them. My friend Callum, who's another. I've got lots of friends who are Notts County fans, and Notts County's a great away day as well.
Is it?
So it's a bit of a predicament for me, but what a lot of fans are saying is it's not fair that they're throwing all that money at these players. Ben Foster.
Who is Ben Foster?
Is obviously all over the news at the moment. He, I think he played for West Brom. He played for Watford. He played for Man United.
Oh, right, okay.
I think Newcastle tried to sign him. They played for the first teams, all for the first teams, But Newcastle United, who obviously have just had all the money pumped into them as well recently, they tried to sign him earlier on in the season, and he said no, he didn't want to come out of retirement. But Wrexham have gone to him and said, would you come and play for us? And he's come out of retirement and gone for Wrexham. But Ben Foster straight away has turned around and said it was never about the money, which is fair enough. He said, if you pay for my travel and you pay for my hotel, I'll sign for Wrexham, because that's where that was his first ever team he played for. I think. I'm pretty sure that's where he started. So very early on in Ben's career, that's where he started. And I just think, I don't know, to get your opinion on teams throwing loads of money at clubs in lower league football.
Right, yeah. I mean, like, my only comparison to that, because I've got a very limited football knowledge, is Man City. Because I grew up a Man United fan. I used to have a season ticket. I used to go to the football a lot. And, you know, I don't follow it as much now, just because I don't have the time. I do enjoy watching the games when I can. But I remember like going, because my dad's a Man City fan, and I used to go to a lot of away games with my dad when they were in a lower league. And then obviously
because they was down in the lower divisions for a long time, weren't they?
All through my sort of child, up until me being sort of like a teenager, I guess, like late teens. Man City were like really like, you know, not great team, I guess. I mean, probably a great team, you know, in terms of players, but they weren't in like the Premier League, you know.
Yeah.
And then when obviously they got the owners in who own them now, and they've got a lot of money, and like their owner, like one of the richest people in the world or something like that. It's like like Saudi money, isn't it, or something?
Yeah.
So obviously seeing them go from like crap to like obviously the force of a football team that they are now, great to see, because like my is it though? Because like my dad,
that's
my dad
so
doesn't
interesting.
Go to the
you
games
say
now.
that. That's interesting. You say that about a rival football team.
Yeah, I mean, because again, because
you say that it's great. It's great for them that they've done that. Because if Scunthorpe United did that, I would be gutted.
You'd hate it, wouldn't you? Well,
I hate it.
The thing is, for me, is my dad's a City fan, and it you know, years ago it used to be like Derby Day, and I'd get to wind my dad up because we'd always hammer them, and like now you just don't know, you know, so it makes it a little bit for me, because I don't care where United come, where City come, or whatever. On like Derby Day and stuff like that, I have a bit of banter with my dad. Like I'll message him and like, oh, we're gonna, you know, I won't even watch it, but I'll be like, oh, you know, if we win 4-0 or something.
Yeah.
The Cristiano Ronaldo thing, that was a good one. So basically, because there was a point, wasn't there, where they didn't know if he was going to City or United.
Yeah, there was all the rumours, but again, going back to what we spoke about before, that was on the news. How true is that?
Well, yeah, exactly. But I remember messaging my dad and saying like,
I thought he was going to say, I remember messaging Ronaldo then saying, are you going to go to City, pal?
I put a thing up on my Instagram when he thinking. Do you remember a little picture of me and him? I like photoshopped it in. Anyway, I messaged my dad and I was like, what do you think of Cristiano Ronaldo? Like, you know, and he was like, oh, it'd be great if he comes to us. He's a goal machine and da-da-da. And I was like, you used to wind me up about Ronaldo when he was at United years back.
People hated him.
Yeah, mate. My dad used to call him like a ballet dancer. And I'm like, but because of how well he moved on the ball, like he literally glided along the pitch, didn't he?
Yeah.
But so Ben Foster then. So yeah. So I mean, it can only be a good thing for Wrexham, for the town as well. Do you know what I mean? Having more money thrown at it because haven't they opened up one of the other stands and things like that? So more money
Yeah.
into the.
It's more, yeah. It's good for the economy, and it's good. It's good. It's good for the fans, and I think Wrexham probably deserve it because they've had a long time down there. They used to be a huge club, so they probably do deserve it a little bit. But my only reason I probably am against it a little bit is the fact that it's not fair on the rest of the of the league.
Yeah,
You've got teams like Kings Lynn who was in that league then. You've got teams like Dorking, you've got teams like Scunthorpe even, who are like they can't afford to compete with that. There's no way that they can compete with that. But which is why it was kind of bittersweet that last season they'd spent all that money on these amazing players
and didn't go.
And
up.
then Grimsby Town went and beat them 5-4 and we got promoted. Which was kind of just shows that you can spend all that money, but if you've got a team and a togetherness like Grimsby had last season, then I don't think anything can come against that.
That's it. Money's not everything, and like you say with this Ben Foster guy, a lot of it might not be the money. Look how well that documentary's done. There are people in America now who know what Wrexham is.
Oh my God!
Know
mate,
what
you
Wales
see
is.
The Twitter replies. The Twitter replies on Wrexham Football Club's tweets now from all the
crazy?
Americans and stuff. Oh my God, it's mental. You got Americans that don't really know anything about football and they're like trying to get involved in all the footy banter, but it's like a proper grassroots football fan like me and many of other people from Grimsby and Manchester and all over the world. But yeah, like people just the way that they say things and the way that it's so weird. It's so weird to see.
That's crazy.
That like they're the replies and just the way that they talk about soccer in general. I just think it's really weird. But yeah, my whole thing was I don't think that it's very fair on other teams.
Yeah.
But then again, would I be saying the same if it was Grimsby that had all that money? If
you and Lloyd should buy Grimsby.
Me and Lloyd should buy Grimsby. Jesus,
Lloyd
we wouldn't get
Griffiths
very far.
Grimsby.
We'd have you playing up front for us. But yeah. But I just think, but these are the whole things. That the reason we started this podcast is because you was telling me that football was overrated. How can... I don't understand how you think football's overrated.
I just, like I say to you, I enjoy
We should save this. We should save this as an episode.
Oh, okay.
Of how the podcast started.
Well, let's bring this to an end then, this episode.
Yeah.
Thank you very much again to all the Patreons. Patreons. Thank you so much. Honestly, that if it's £3, if it's £5, if it's £10, it genuinely makes a difference. We can get guests down and pay for train fares and get Tomo down from Grimsby and all that stuff and buy better equipment because we know the podcast hasn't sounded the best it could recently, and that's just because we're kind of using older kit, but we're working on that. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for being a Patreon. Please, the best thing you can do is talk about the podcast to friends, etc., and tell them about these ones because I guess these are going to be the nice little honest chats between me and you, T, and the good fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, same, mate. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay, cool. So we'll see you probably next week with another one of these guys. Thank you very much.
Wicked. Peace.